the dashboards are the best way for me to get that quick visibility into different key metrics that we're looking for. So, my general philosophy around sales leadership and leading a team is to most importantly have fun. So I love to tell my team, work hard, play hard, and rest hard. So I think that sales is a demanding job, as most jobs are, but with sales, at any given time, anybody can see what you have done lately. So your attainment against your quota is on a Salesforce dashboard. It's on sometimes it's on a weekly presentation that gets sent around the organization. It's on, when we're in physical offices, on whiteboards and on, monitors around the sales floor. So different ways of projecting where you are against your number. And so it's a lot of pressure there. And so for me, I tell my team, like, there's going to be good days and bad days. There's going to be good weeks and bad weeks, good quarters, bad quarters, good years, bad years. And just make sure that you are representing yourself the best you possibly can in your organization and have fun with it. I mean, it's sales is a very interesting career path because you're negotiating internally and you're negotiating externally on a daily basis.
Absolutely. You're also negotiating with yourself sometimes, I think, especially when you're in that beginning trajectory of sales or in a new company. Like you said, it is visible performance. How do you drive faith into folks when they're not quite hitting their quota? How do you keep the faith alive in them to keep on going?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So it's a lot of motivation, but it's a lot of making sure that your reps and your team know that you're in it with them. So to show that, hey, let's sit down and think about how we can get creative to get this in, or to get more pipeline for you, or to get your deals faster to the finish line. So I think that it's a team sport. Sales is a team sport, and so if you have the ability to help your team see and know that, and they know that you sell with the CEO, you sell with your leader, you sell your sales leader, you sell with your product team, your engineering team. I think it makes it feel like less lonely of a win and less lonely of a loss as well.
See, that's an interesting concept, because when we think about how sales is structured, the comms, the target is individual, but like you said, we need to breed here a team spirit. How do you interplay like the structure of comms, individual quotas, and actually achieve that team spirit? How do you go about it? What are your top tips?
Oh my goodness. A lot of collaboration, a lot of transparent communication, a lot of just, making sure that the rest of the team feels like they're a part of this deal process, a part of this win. Especially at the end, a lot of gratitude. So one of the things I learned at a previous organization, I worked at Slack, and we obviously use Slack the best. We had a Slack channel called Sales Wins, and it was such a great channel because inside, whenever a deal was closed, the sales rep would post about the win, about the why and the how. But a huge portion of that post went to the thank yous. And usually any given post, no matter what the deal size was, had thank yous all across the companies, from executive to legal to sales operations to, of course, sales management, engineering, product, marketing. There were so many thank yous. And I feel like the organization really did feel the gratitude, but also felt like, wow, it really does take, a village to get some of these across the finish line. And they were all celebrated in a very great way. So I've actually taken that learning and I've brought it over to my current organization. And I think it's been a huge motivator slash just like, it's just a fun, lively channel to be a part of and to get the alerts from.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So we need to have fun. We need to make sure we rest sometimes. We need to celebrate together and give thanks. You mentioned earlier some key sales levers like pipeline, and helping in tactical ways to help people achieve their quota. First question, what's the best way for you to get visibility into those kinds of things?
So I use Salesforce. So for me, I have a wonderful Salesforce admin who's put together really easy dashboards for me that I can quickly go in, refresh, and just see the stack rank of pipeline, where it's coming, where deals are stuck in terms of stages, where deals we've won. And so it's just for me, because I don't have the hours to digest in my Salesforce, the dashboards are the best way for me to get that quick visibility into different key metrics that we're looking for. And we have one for our sales team at the different levels. And then we also have one for our business development reps to show how they're actually getting leads inbound versus outbound, what means are working for us in terms of, where the requests are coming from for inbound leads.
Yeah. Okay. And you raise a great point too. We don't have loads of time as sales leaders to digest this stuff. And lots of people in our community are people in sales and rev ops. And they often ask, well, how do I like surface the important stuff? And how do I like really help our sales leaders and have a great partnership with them? So from your perspective, what are the crucial must have from any kind of admin operations teams? And what does a great partnership look like with those folks? How can they help you best and vice versa?
Oh, that's a really good question because sometimes the Salesforce admins and the operations team they're kind of like the hidden heroes, right? Because they are really the folks that are putting a lot of strategy to make sure your organization is successful and your reps are successful. And you want your reps to feel like they're being supported by these folks. And so I would say for me, I have a weekly meeting with my sales operations and Salesforce team where we go through just optimization of dashboards, optimization of metrics, but also just what based on the data that we're seeing, incoming data in terms of like the inbound leads versus outbound prospecting, where when deals are closed, like how long the deal cycle take. We're just looking at all the data to optimize and to tell the field back, like here's what we're seeing. Here's this, in this industry, in this vertical, in this company size, we see the average deal is X. So we should probably go after, and so we're basically using our data to have our sales team be smarter and not work harder. I think that's key as well. There's a lot of good tools out there that people use to, measure their data, review their data, analyze their data. For us, we're a smaller sales team. We have 12 salespeople on the team right now. And so I think we're a little bit too small to have some of these really cool analytical tools, but I'm sure we'll get there soon enough where, instead of the humans doing the analyzing right now, which is our sales operations team, we'll probably have some real-time tools there as well.
Yeah, awesome. Absolutely. I want to take a step back for a second and I want to look again at your journey, right? Sales is so interesting because you go from like the executing the tactical, carrying your quota to everything you've just discussed so far in terms of values and strategy. How did you find the step up stage by stage, especially when you were thinking way beyond your quota to a much bigger picture, right?
So I'm sorry, you said, how did I get from?
Yes. So how did you handle each step upwards in seniority, becoming manager,
Oh,
VP?
okay.
And how did you kind of react to and address like going from an individual contributor, you're totally focusing on executing,
Yeah.
to all of the strategic and all of the value driven stuff we've been speaking about so far?
Yeah, no, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of good mentorship, it takes a lot of, not a lot of, but it takes years of experience as well and failing, right? So it's not like in every single role, I've just been automatically been successful to get promoted. It's taken a lot of different learnings as well. And I will say, I was a very happy individual contributor, carrying my own bag and achieving my own numbers. And I had a manager at Dropbox that was very adamant about me becoming a manager. I think he quickly saw that people were coming to me for those questions anyways. And his organization was growing. So he needed a manager in the West, I am and was based out of San Francisco. And so I quickly became a manager underneath him. And I just loved it. But with that was, having to let go of the day-to-day individual contributor responsibilities and just trusting that, if you're hiring smarter people than yourself, then they know what they're doing. They'll actually teach you something. So I think that's been my biggest learning, is make sure you hire people that are smarter than you so that you can always learn from them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like it was a combination of being in the right place at the right time. But there's something else you said there where people were coming to you for answers anyway. And I'd love to dig into that really. What do you mean by that?
I think that when you have success on the sales floor, and yeah, especially when we're in person now, it's more you have to find time in the calendar, ad hoc, or find them on a like Slack or something, right? But at the time we were in person, and I was having success closing some pretty significant deals, and so people would ask me like, "Hey, what did you do in the scenario? How did your deal come to be? What presentations did you use? What assets do you have? Who are you connecting the executives with to build that momentum, build the champions?" And so there was just questions like that I was regularly being asked. And I see that even as I lead teams, I see certain people being tapped on the shoulder for similar advice, and I can tell that the team respects them. And I think that's a huge thing about promoting within. You want to make sure that the person that gets promoted, it's a no-brainer where everyone's like, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm so excited for them to be my manager if that's the case.
Okay. So there's it's dual thing there. Number one is like respect on the floor, but number two is proving that you have the knowledge, the capability, the skills in order to help other people, I guess, right? To lead from the front.
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting. I want to go back to what you said earlier about hiring people.
Mhm.
Sales is really interesting because lots of people might tell you something like, I never planned to be in sales. Some people would, but lots of people would say, I never planned to be in sales. Found myself here. It's not like you can go and do really a sales degree, like you could do a marketing degree. I'm interested to hear from you, like what effect does that have on hiring? And how do we need to shape hiring around the fact that lots of people are really getting into this for the first time? Maybe they hadn't thought of doing this kind of career before.
Yeah, no, it's a great question because I think different organizations need different kinds of sales reps based on where they are as an organization. So, for example, my organization, we are 12 folks and we have product market fit, but there's so much for us that we can potentially do. And so, and there's a lot of change because we are creating a new category. So, we're not I've worked at Slack and Dropbox before as well, right? And so we're not Slack and Dropbox, where there are multi-billion-dollar organizations. They have processes, they have thousands of people in their organization. So right now, I'm looking for sales reps that have that grit and they have that ownership mentality where, you know what, even though I'm a seller in this organization, I'm going to really treat this like it's my business. And how do I get the next customer? How do I get the next marketing event that'll have an impact, right? So when I was hiring at Slack, I was hiring for people that really knew how to upsell and how to have a land strategy that can really lead to some really large upsell deals. Here, I'm looking for folks that can really think about what's the right narrative. How can we, optimize and adjust the narrative each time we sell so that we are more clear and just we accelerate the deal cycle X amount of days or weeks faster. Whereas Slack, I feel like we had a lot of that already figured out. Or by the time I left, we had a lot of that figured out.
Okay, interesting. So it might be the case in smaller companies who need lateral. I mean, lateral thinking is always interesting, but we really need lateral thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
Back on the culture piece, smaller businesses, smaller tech startups, how do they compare to the bigger things? Like is it more intimate? Like I'd imagine it really is compared to something like a Slack. But what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've worked at organizations like Cisco and Google that had, I think Google at the time was 30,000 employees, and I think Cisco was, I don't know, 50,000 plus. And then I've worked at a really small retail tech company I was employee number 11. And Slack, I think Slack and Dropbox, I was right before they hit 1,000. And now at Thrive, I'm employee number, call it 90 or 100 out of 130-ish people. And so I will say that for me, this is my sweet spot where I love being this close and really figuring out go to market and really working with all the teams to make sure that we're all moving in the right direction. But it depends on what people want out of their career, what they want out of their interaction. And I will say that I think intimate is like the perfect word for the Series B type of companies where you feel like everything you're doing is making an impact on the bottom line. Every asset you're creating is moving the needle. Every deal you're closing is so impactful, because now we're really getting into like the multi-year strategy with closing these deals. And so we're seeing that every one of these 3-year deals is going to have an impact for the next 3 years and beyond. And so it's pretty cool. And I think that I feel like the sales team is really feeling that as well.
Yeah, inspires you.
Very inspiring.
Yeah. Not only does it have an impact on the bottom line, but when you're, a VP, smaller business, you're really setting the foundation for a culture that will continue for years as well. Really keen to hear what you think of that, and whether that comes into your day-to-day, week-to-week, if you think about that at all, and how that reflects in how you work and work with the team.
Absolutely. So sales culture is a huge thing. Culture is a huge thing at organizations. For me, sales culture is a really big part of why I love to show up to work every day as well. And every sales member that I've hired, I tell them, you are the founding sales team. And you're going to define not only the processes and the first couple of customers that are going to change our trajectory, but also the culture. And so we actually just had our quarterly business reviews last week with the sales team. And one of the sessions was talking about what kind of sales culture do you want to drive as the founding sales team? And it was really exciting and fun to hear very similar responses from the team, which is we want to have fun. We want to make sure that it's, same thing, high pressure, but we are a team, we're a family environment, and we care and want each other. We want to see each other succeed. So, we've definitely been a part of organizations where and some of the sales team has as well, where you felt like you're competing with your team member because, it's some sales environments are more of the Shark Tank. So it's like, if you're the bottom 10%, you're not going to make it the next quarter, right? Without any qualitative reason. It's all just quantitative in terms of how you're achieving on the dashboard. And so I want to make sure that this team feels supported in every way for them to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. I have a final question for you.
Yeah.
If you're in a room full of the best sales leaders ever, what would you ask them?
Oh, it's a really good question. I would probably ask them what their favorite win was. It's so intriguing to hear about, sales leaders, because you're no longer the individual carrying the bag, but you're definitely a part of the top wins to help, move the needle forward and help move the deals forward. And so I feel like if you had 20 top leaders from 20 top organizations that had these killer wins that really moved the needle in their organization, they probably would have some really cool stories to tell about a large monumentous win in their organization.